Hello, everybody. This is Ryan Koki of the Seahawk Recap Show, and welcome to the final recap of Super Wild Card Weekend. And this is game 6, the final game on Monday night. And it was a shocking event. I'm just gonna say that I was not expecting the Eagles to lose this game in the way that they did. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's get into the recap, and we'll talk a little bit in this recap about this game. So, the Bucks versus the Eagles, the final wild card game 6. And it was a 32-9 win for the Buccaneers at home against the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's start off with the Buccaneers stats. They had a total of 426 yards, 307 passing yards, 119 rushing yards, averaged 6.2 yards per play, 23 first downs. They went 6 for 14 on third down efficiency, went 1 for 2 on fourth down, had 69 total plays, 4 sacks allowed, 3 punts, 5 penalties for 25 yards given up, 0 fumbles, 0 interceptions, and 34 minutes and 3 seconds of possession time. And for the Eagles, they had 276 total yards, 234 passing yards, 42 rushing yards, averaged 5.2 yards per play, 13 first downs. They went 1 for 10 on third down. It is wrong. The graphic is wrong. And they went 0 for 2 on fourth down. They just couldn't get anything going on offense. They had 53 total plays, 3 sacks allowed, 4 punts, 6 penalties for 54 yards given up, 0 fumbles, 0 interceptions, and 25 minutes and 57 seconds of possession time. Let's talk about Ryan's focus players. And let's talk about Baker Mayfield for a second. He had a really good game, honestly. 22 for 36, 337 in passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And Baker Mayfield, the story of Baker Mayfield, I really do love Baker Mayfield. I liked him on the Browns, and I like him, I liked him on the Rams, I liked him on the Browns, and I liked him on, every team that he's been on. And this guy has gone through a war, going from job to job to job. And honestly, he's really done well for the Bucks this season. He's a guy that has been in talks about an extension, reportedly and rumored to be. And I really hope he stays in the Bucks organization because he's looking like he's had a lot of fun in this organization, and it's really nice to see. Great game from Baker Mayfield, slinging it, having fun out there, and it was really nice to see. For the running back, Rashad White, 18 carries, 72 yards, averaged 4 yards per carry, 0 touchdowns. But Rashad White took over the starting job a couple of years ago, and he's never looked back. And he really controlled the game when the Bucks ran the ball. He was controlling the game. That's why he had 18 carries. He was a minute muncher close to the end, and he did have a good game. And let's talk about the wide receiver. Let's talk about Trey Palmer. 1 reception, 56 yards, averaged 56 yards per reception, and the 1 touchdown. This rookie in the 6th round of this year's draft. The reason why I focused on him was due to the fact that he had a really good touchdown. Like, that man can run. The fastest 40 time in the draft this season, and or I should say last draft, and he really just blew by James Bradbury. I know the Eagles really had a bad tackling problem for the defense, but instead of an 8-yard gain, which he should have got, he just breaks the tackle against James Bradbury and runs for 56 yards to the house, getting his first touchdown in the postseason. And it's really nice to see a 6th rounder coming out and really playing well for the Buccaneers. And this guy, with his speed, could be a very good wide receiver for the future for the Buccaneers offense. But let's talk about the Eagles offense. And at this point, I just feel really bad for Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, 25 for 35, 250 yards, one touchdown, zero interceptions. But this guy was getting harassed all night long. The blitzing. He just couldn't get the ball out. I think it was like he had 2 seconds to throw when he dropped back, and the amount of pressure that was just generated was insane. But Jalen Hurts really did try in this game, and I'm surprised he didn't get intercepted once. But that's just a testament to how good Jalen Hurts can be. But let's talk about the run game, and let's talk about why this game was just a blowout. They couldn't establish the run game. DeAndre Swift, 10 carries, 34 yards, 3.4 yards per carry, zero touchdowns. Again, just couldn't establish the run game. And in the regular season, you look at when these teams met up in, I believe, week 3, they had 204 rushing yards, the Eagles, to beat the Bucks. And it's a completely different story now. Just couldn't establish anything on the ground. And let's talk about the only wide receiver that Jalen Hurts actually felt comfortable with, and that was Devontae Smith. 8 receptions, 148 yards, averaged 18.5 yards per reception, zero touchdowns. And, I know AJ Brown was out, and I know AJ Brown is one of the best receivers you guys have. And it just seemed one dimensional, this offense. If Devontae Smith wasn't open, you weren't comfortable with any of your other options. And that's what ended up having you guys lose this game, because it was just you covered Devontae Smith and you win the game. And that's exactly what the Bucks did in the second half to close this one out. But speaking of the Bucks, let's talk about their defense, and let's talk about Kalijah Cansey. 3 solo tackles, half a sack, and zero forced fumbles. But man, this D line, was getting pressure in there. They were stopping the run, which was really effective against this Eagles offense. And Kalijah Cansey really put up a good show, and it was really nice to see. But someone else that I want to talk about, and it's the DB, Jamel Dean. 9 solo tackles, one assisted, zero sacks, zero interceptions. This guy had a career night in the postseason, honestly, because he was covering Devontae Smith. He was the guy that was covering Devontae Smith all the time. And it really shows that he was doing really well. Pass breakups. He had Antoine Winfield Jr. come over to help him out when he needed to. And he really played a really solid game, tackling machine for this secondary. And it was really nice to see. And let's talk about the linebacker, Levante David, the guy that's been doing it for a very long time. I believe it's his 12th season in the league, 5 solo tackles, zero sacks, zero interceptions. But again, a guy that's just the run defense. He fits Todd Bowles' defense so well, because Todd Bowles loves the blitz. And this guy just is amazing at blitzing in Levante David. Even that he's 33 years old, he could still run with the best of them, and he was really good in this game. But let's talk about this Eagles defense. And do I really have to? Let's talk about D lineman Brandon Graham, another ageless wonder. 5 solo tackles, one sack, zero forced fumbles. But the D line for the Eagles was the only thing that showed up for the Eagles in this game. It feels like, Brandon Graham can't play coverage. He can't play corner. He can't play safety. He can't play linebacker. So he's doing his job. He's trying to generate pressure against Baker Mayfield. And, he did. He got one sack in there. He tried to help out when he needed to. He tried to get pressure when he needed to. And that's all you can ask from this D line. But let's talk about the ailing secondary, and let's talk about who I thought was the best out of the worst in terms of this secondary. Kevin Byard, 5 solo tackles, zero sacks, zero interceptions, and that's the safety. And when you look at what's happened to this Eagles defense, they have not been the same since Matt Patricia took over as the defensive coordinator from Desai, the first year coordinator that was brought in. The Eagles defense just hasn't been good. They've been struggling. Darius Slay said, it was really hard it's really hard to adjust to this new defense, but we're professionals and we need to figure it out. And yeah, you do. The amount of missed tackles was really bad, but Kevin Byard, had a decent game, but he was not without his warts as well. And let's talk about a linebacker Zach Cunningham, 4 solo tackles, 5 assisted, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. Zach Cunningham did okay. Again, nice tackling numbers, but just not a good showing from this Eagles defense. And Eagles, I get what you're going through. I honestly really do. Consider this, I am a Seahawks fan, and I've been recapping every single Seahawks game for this previous season. And I understand missing tackles and getting really frustrated. So I'm with you. I am literally with you. The amount of missed tackles you guys performed is the exact same amount of missed tackles the Seahawks performed as well during the season. So we're in this pain together. I understand completely what you're going through. For my final thoughts, congrats to the Buccaneers for heading off to the divisional round to face off against the Lions. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is it. The divisional playoffs are set, and I will have a video out previewing those games for you. If not today in the morning, probably tomorrow at some point. But in the playoffs, anything can happen, and you guys showed up tonight and put on a clinic. Baker Mayfield showed up in this game, and the defense showed out and played their hearts out as well. Everything was clicking from you guys. You guys had a lot of swagger, and it was really nice to see you guys win this game. Congrats. And I hope you guys go far because I like Todd Bowles as a coach. I think, he just got into the playoffs, you know, in the NFC South. And I think out of all NFC South coaches, he should be the one to keep his job because he shows up here. And I think this game saved his job. For the Eagles, I'm really feeling bad for you guys. Again, you guys started off so well. You guys were 10-1. And one of the big things was that I was hyping you guys up in a lot of my videos saying you were one of the top 2 teams in the NFC. And, you guys were looking like it in the regular season. But by 10-1, everything just started falling apart from the defense, struggles from changing coordinators midseason. Then the offense started to struggle and it just all compacted into this wild card game. I don't know what's going to happen for the Eagles in the offseason, but I'm really curious on what the future will look like for you guys because I am recording this on Tuesday morning and I just saw breaking news that Jason Kelsey, the all-time great, has retired. He is retiring. And one of the big things is Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, Brendan Graham, Fletcher Cox for that matter. This could have been their last hurrah. We'll see what happens in the offseason, but I really, I really feel for the Eagles because I love Lane Johnson. I love Jason Kelsey, I love Fletcher Cox. I love Brendan Graham. And to see those guys leave the sport will be tough, even if I'm not an Eagles fan. But, anyways, that is it for the wild card weekend. Thank you all very much for watching. This is game 6, and the divisional round, like I said, is set. And I will have a video out for you guys. If not today, it will be out tomorrow for sure. I just don't know when, but I will have a preview for you guys for the divisional. And I will see you guys on hopefully Saturday for the divisional round. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider leaving a like to tell me that I've done a good job. And please consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss out on any more of these game recaps throughout the 2023-2024 playoffs, the quest for Super Bowl 58. Anyways, have a good day, guys, and I will see you all in the next video.